Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's the new experience. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one, man. Spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Reality, spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Spirituality. Oh, now we get real. Yeah, it's time to get down.
Okay, it sounds like we're having some technical difficulties. Okay, it sounds like we're having some...
Oh, yeah.
Hold on, everybody.
It's a new experience. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one, man. Reality, spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Spirituality. Oh, now we get real. Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get down. Spirituality. Yeah, you gonna feel good now. Real good. Spirituality. But I'm time to get real.
Okay, we're having technical difficulties. Let me see if I still have my guest on. Kelliena, can you still hear me? Oh, no. Okay, so hold on a second, audience. So much energy in the call, I'm assuming. Let's see. Reality, spirituality, these are the things that happen. Let's see, hold on a second.
Hello?
Hi, can you hear me? Is there an echo?
No, it sounds good.
Okay, geez, Louise, I don't know what happened, but there was the music was looping back and forth. Listen, that's what happens. What are you going to do?
True.
Let me, first of all, before I bring on my guest, because this show is going to just be jam-packed with so much great information and just a story that I've been waiting to hear for I don't know how many months. But for my new listeners, I just want to explain this show, Reality Spirituality. This show is really about finding and experiencing more peace, more contentment, more inner peace. Oh. Hold on.
Yeah, keep your ears open for this one, man. Oh, it's time to get real.
We're having another delay.
You got a question for RLN?
Hold on, audience. Hold on, Kelliena.
No worries.
Oh, now we get real. Yeah, it's time to get down. Yeah, you gonna feel good now. Real good. But I'm time to get real.
Jeez Louise. Well, if the song comes on again, then we're stuck in some kind of time zone, some kind of time zone loop. But, okay, where was I? Oh, practicing what I preach. Talking about just having... Okay, we're having technical difficulties. Let me see if I still have my guest on. Kelliena, can you still hear me? Oh, my goodness. So we're on some kind of delay, Kelliena. Okay, so hold on a second, audience. I'm going to try it one more time. I'm assuming.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, hello everyone. Let's see if I can get Kelliena back on. Kelliena. Hold on, audience. Ooh-wee. This has to be all of this wild, crazy energy that we're putting out. Well, you know what? I don't know what it is, but let's see if I can get Kelliena back on. Hold time. Hold on, audience. Thank you for being patient. Okay, that sounds like it's ringing. Okay, so that's not working. Let me try one more time, audience. Let's see. Online. I'm trying to call you through Skype, Kelliena, but there's no answer. Kelliena, I'm wondering if you can call in on the studio line, which is 646-564-9619. Hold on a second. Let me try again, audience. Trying to call in. Kelliena, if you can hear me, call in 646-564-9619. Let me try again on Skype. Okay, here we go. Hello, is this Kelliena Smith? Okay, hold on a second, audience. One more try. Let's see. Well, audience, I'm going to try one more time, and if not, what I'm going to do is I have a few people that are in the queue. Hold on just a second. Let me try it this way. Oh, there you are.
There we go. I don't know what happened there. I was looking at my phone the entire time, and it didn't come up.
Oh, well, you know what? Here you are. And
Perfect.
well, hi, audience. Yeah, it's so interesting what happens. But you know what? That's just part of life. That's one of the things that I love teaching on this show, is that life just happens, and it's really about how we react and how we feel and how our vibration is affected by what's happening. But anyway, Kelliena is here, and with all of this time, I want to just get right to her story, but with a brief introduction. Kelliena Smith has been conducting professional psychic readings for over a decade, and she realized that she was psychic in her teenage years. But Kelliena, you've been on my show a few times. I don't know, 3-4 times. I really lose count. But what happened to you a few months ago? I first of all give the audience a little introduction, and let's really get into your story. That's what happened to you a few months ago, please.
Sure. Well, what happened was I was in a serious surfing accident, and I'll tell the audience what happened and then how I do my readings. Actually, I'll explain the readings first, and we'll get into the accident. Because for me, and it's ever since I can remember being in the crib, guardians have always come to me. I use the word guardians instead of angels because there's different types. Like, I don't always see them with the wings. I see them more as colors or light. Sometimes I'll see them as, like, the fairies, or like you'll see energy through trees, and they've always been there all my life. So I've always worked with the guardians. They're my friends. They're my teachers. That's how I do the readings. That's how I do the translations when I'm doing energy work or psychic training. That has always been a big part of my life. So anyways, back in the beginning of August of this year, I've been surfing off and on for probably about 3-4 years. I love it. Surfing is wonderful. I would go back, but I've been forbidden to go back at this time from my family. What happened was I think it was August 3rd, my sisters and my good friends Kip and my brother-in-law Dan, we all went surfing. And it was a little bit rough than normal. Like the surf was probably over a good meter, which is over like 3 feet. So it was a little rough. And I'm not the biggest person. Like, I'm about 5'2", 126 pounds. So it was really hard to stand up. And even my brother-in-law, who's 6'2", 230, like, he was struggling in the waves. So, but it was really fun. Like, it was just having fun at the thing. And we were there for about 20 minutes. So what happened was, and I had no warning because I get this question a lot. People ask, well, did the guardians warn you this was happening? And no, I just had this overwhelming sense of, okay, this is going to be a fun day, and we'll just kind of go. And that was me. The guardians didn't tell me that, but I just wanted to go out and have fun on the surf, which we've done many times. So we get there, and I think we were there for about 20 minutes, and I caught a surf, and I didn't stand up, but I was able to surf all the way to the shore. So the part of the beach that we were at, it was Norrington Beach in Nova Scotia, Canada. When we surfed there, there's all these little rocks along the edge. So it's not sand, it's mostly rocks because of the way the tide was. So I caught a wave, got all the way down to where the shore was, and my sister, brother-in-law, and friend are way out. My other sister was on the way. So I'm kind of by myself. And then what happened was I caught the surf, and I turned around to pick up my board. My board was horizontal in front of me, so the wave is coming at me. So what happened was the first wave kind of knocked me down. I lost control of the board, and then the board was still horizontal in front of me. And as I was falling back from the first wave, a second wave came and picked up the board. And I don't know, I'm sure your listeners know, like, surfboards are quite big. So as it picked it up, my hands were behind me. It hit me right in the head.
Jesus.
So as it did that, I don't remember being knocked out. I just remember being in the shallow part of the water, that when the board hit me, I got kind of dragged along the rocks. Because the doctors feel, they're pretty sure I was knocked out, which is, it's amazing that I didn't drown. So when it hit me so hard that I almost got sick, like almost threw up because of the force. That's the only thing I really remember. And then I was sitting up, And as I was doing this, and at this time I was really dazed and confused because I've been asked, well, what are the guardians saying to you at the time? And honestly, at this part in time, I really didn't know because I didn't understand what happened. So after I was trying to grab the board because the waves are still coming, I'm trying to sit up because for whatever reason, and I didn't understand it, I couldn't stand up. And so I was trying to wave to my sister and my brother-in-law and my friend, but my sister thought I was just laughing, like having fun, like waving, having a great time.
Hold on a second. That's just the worst when you're in distress and you're dying and somebody just waving back, oh, hi, how are you? Have a nice day. Okay, keep going.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
That's what happened for about 3-4 minutes. Because my brother-in-law was like, no, I think something's wrong with Kel because she's not moving. And I kept waving. So finally, my brother-in-law said, no, something's wrong. So as I came forward, I only had like a little red mark on my forehead, and that's the only thing. I thought at the time, because I couldn't stand up, I thought I must have sprained my leg. So I kind of dismissed the head part. I thought, well, my head's hurting, but I couldn't stand up. So then what happened was my brother-in-law had to carry me from the beach to the car, which was about 10 minutes. So he got me to the thing. I thought, no, I'm okay because it's just my leg is sprained. We'll put some ice on it. It'll be okay. And my head was just a little sore. I thought, well, it's not that bad. So I just went home, and they got me set up. We had some salad, put some ice on my ankle, and that was that. And that first day I was somewhat okay, or I thought it was, because I didn't have any symptoms that I was concerned about. And then when I woke up, the next morning, I started throwing up. I kept getting sick. And I was talking to my good friend James, and he was like, no, I think you need to go to the doctor. And I was like, well, it's not that bad. But after, probably an hour after that call, my left side started going numb. And so I went to the doctor. So in Canada, we're kind of known with the hospitals that the waits can be very long, and this particular day was really long. Like when I got there, I think it was around 2:33 on Tuesday, and I didn't get to see a doctor until 11:30 that night because I had to sit in the waiting room and wait that whole time.
Let me just jump in really quick because there's a lot of things I want to get to, and I want you to get to first of all, this was really very serious. So get me to the point where you realized what the doctor said, that it was serious. Get me to that point.
Well, it wasn't that night. They said that there's something kind of off, but they want me to come back. So they sent me home, and then the next morning I went in and I had my scan. And then they said, I went by myself. So when I got there, I had the scan. They said, okay, that your brain is swollen. So when the surfboard hit, it bruised or made the brain swell in the front part of my brain and the back of the brain, because when the surfboard hit, it shot the brain to the back of my skull. So it swelled on two parts. So when that happened, I had to go into what they call the dark room, and I wasn't allowed any light, electronics, nothing, because at that point they were scared that it could trigger a seizure or cause brain bleed with that. And I wasn't allowed anything to make my senses go. So I had to eat very light. I had to be very careful with my stress and everything. So
let me ask you a question then, because I want to start asking questions. So how did you feel? I mean, what were you thinking? What were your thoughts? Were you scared? Were you nervous? Were you trusting? What were your thoughts?
I was trusting. I wasn't scared at that point. I was just kind of like, oh, okay. And I was really surprised it was that serious. And the precautions, because they wanted to keep me at the hospital longer, and I said, no, I'll go home, because there wasn't anything that they could really do. It was just basically monitoring if I had a stroke, or if your brain starts to bleed, you're going to know it, things will start happening, and bad headache, and you'll get you'll vomit a lot. That's just some things you have to watch for. So there's a lot of things I had to watch for, and when I went to the dark room, I wasn't really scared. I was more I kept falling asleep. I kept sleeping. So even though it was because others were saying, well, aren't you bored, or what, are you scared? And I wasn't. I just kept falling asleep. And the guardians at that time, so it was that night or that morning when I found out that my brain was swollen, what happened was as I went to sleep, I was home alone. This was before the doctor said I wasn't allowed being by myself. And I was in this light, and I don't mean like a like a light around me. I was like in this light, and the light asked me, they said, do you want to come with us? And I remember being at that point, I thought, okay, something's going on here, because I didn't understand the conversation. And the light said very calmly, don't worry about your sisters, don't worry about your family. We're going to take care of them. They're going to be looked after, but can you come with us? And I remember at that point, I knew that, okay, this is a possible transition.
Oh, my God. And so what did you say? No, thank you. I'd rather stay here.
Well, I had a moment of panic. That was probably the part where I was scared, because I didn't understand that it was that serious.
Okay, so I thought it was just. Okay, so let me just kind of hone you in, because this is really important stuff. Because the light, because I've heard stories like this, but not, everybody's so different. So they asked you. The light asked you, do you want to come with? And so that's when you realized you were conscious through all of this questioning. And then you made a decision, you made a conscious decision?
Yeah, I asked him to come back. And then I was instantly back in my bed. Like, it was the moment I saw it, I was back in my bed.
And so what were you thinking? What was going through what were your thoughts?
Well, when I woke up, when I was back in my bed, I was so physically exhausted, because this was before I went to the doctors to find out that my brain was swollen. So at that point, I was so exhausted because I was so tired, physically tired from the hospital visit the night before, but also too emotionally or energetically drained from that interaction with the light, because it was so intense. It was so, I think probably in our time, it was probably maybe 2-3 seconds. But in the moment, it felt like it felt like hours. And it was just so instant and just so draining. And then the fear didn't really kick in until I processed it when I came back conscious up in the bed, when I realized, oh, okay, they were going to take me. And I wasn't I was scared in the sense in the moment where it's like, okay, this is whatever happened to me on the surfboard, it's serious. But I wasn't scared of the light. I wasn't scared of them. It was more like the physical human part of me that was kind of like, oh, okay, I can leave this world.
So I've heard stories that when you're in that light, when you're surrounded by that light or in the light, that there's no fear, and it's all love, and it's just all such a peaceful place. Did you experience that?
It was very peaceful. It was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen consciously in this form that I can remember, because it was just it was almost like, you know how you don't have snow there. I was going to say, if those who have snow, how the moonlight hits the snow, it's like that white, like that bright, pretty, sparkly light. That's what it looks like. But you're in it. It's not surrounding you. You're not looking at a light being projected on the wall or surface. It's around you. And you feel very safe. You felt the love. And they were very gentle. They were just asking, do you want to come with us? And
so when you felt that, and you made a conscious choice to, and how did you make the conscious choice, and why did you make the conscious choice to stay? Do you know?
Well, I remember they were showing me pictures of my family. So what they were doing is they were showing, my family in the future, 20 years from now, and they were showing everyone happy and safe and okay. So they showed my parents when they were older and my sisters when they were older and with kids and things like that. And then when I said, well, my friend, I want to kind of spend time with him, they showed him, and then the moment I said that's where I want to go, I was instantly back.
Wow.
With that. So that's sort of what happened, because I asked, well, what about my friend? What, where's his energy? And then that's when I kind of went back. They didn't answer that part with that. And I don't have a clarity on that at this moment.
Oh, okay. So when you came back, did you how did this event change you?
Well, it did. It's changed me. Okay, so I'm going to explain it kind of physical and then spiritual energies, because physically I'm much more, I get tired very easily, which I'm not used to. For example, when I started building up my strength, I do phone readings. So if I did a 15-minute phone reading, I would do that, and then I would end up sleeping between an hour and a half later, because I'd be so physically exhausted. But psychically or spiritually, I felt like things were much more clear and much more direct than ever before.
Specifically what? What was clear?
when I see aura, like when I look at anyone, like even though Rebecca, like you're in LA, I'm in Canada, I can see your energy. And before the accident, I would have still saw it. But to me, when I see energy too, just for the listeners, just to help them to relate, it's when I see aura, the best I can describe is when you look at a candle and you see the rays of light coming off that flame. That's how I see aura. Like I see them as in chords, and then each chord has a message or a translation according to that person. So what would happen is before I would see that, but now what it is, since the accident, I feel like I see deeper. I feel like it's the guardians, when they present information or when I'm translating, it goes a lot deeper. It gets more into the past life energy, and it really does. The guardians are a little bit more firmer with me that if they feel like it's my client or even myself, like if they feel like, okay, Kelly, you're not doing the work, or, you know, you need to look into this and you need to stop giving away your power, that energy is much more clear than before. Before it was there, but right now it's definitely more firmer, where it's a little bit more serious, where it's like, no, get your act together, find what you're going to do, and go from there. So that, because of that energy, I feel much more determined since the accident. Because before, I'm very big on letting things flow. Just let the energy go, see where it takes you, and go from there. And that's still a big part of who I am, but I feel much more determined where I won't allow outside energy influence. Like an example of that would be during this act on the personal level, I went through a lot of, breakups with people that I thought were my friends. I had others like that did not check up on me, that did not contact, and stuff like that. And it was just an eye-opener because the guardians, during when I had to go in that dark room, it made me think about it. Because I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe this person's not a true friend. And then I would, like, either I wasn't allowed on my computer or myself, so my sister would unfriend them or block them for me, where I realized, okay, and then I would feel this relief, where before I would have been like, no, I'll just, keep doing the work, like, because it would be me doing the texting, the communicating with this particular friend. And then after the accident, I realized, well, wait a minute, this is not a friend. And then what would happen is, friends I haven't heard from in months or even years reached out to me, so I kind of like reestablished those friendships and realized, oh, these can be true friendships. So that's another element that I feel more determined or stronger. Before
No. This is really, really, really important because, well, I don't know about you, but when I was younger, I was taught you have to have friends and people in your life and all of that, but you really don't know anyone until you're challenged or until they're challenged, ever. It's great, when the sun is shining, but what happens when there's a little bit of a storm? And I'm throwing this out because I have experienced this for myself in the last 6 months. But I really know the people that are, I use the word kind because kind to me is huge, meaning that there's no criticism, there's no judgment, it's all acceptance, and they're kind, their hearts are kind. In other words, they can never be mean. And so when I feel that meanness, there's a mean streak, I'm done. And we're in the olden days. I know this interview is about you, but this is really important. In the olden days, I would say, oh, I know, they're like that, but that's okay. I'll just keep giving and I'll keep accepting and I'll keep loving. Is that what you're talking about?
That's exactly what happened. Exactly. Because I would have done the same thing before the accident. I would have been like, well, I'll keep making the effort. I'll be the one to text on them and see how they're doing and all that. But like exactly what you said with the, friends from the past, where it's like, yeah, they're really sweet, but they're not, or they're mean, or they're not good to us, or even good, like even having honor. Like since the accident, I find I have a very strong intolerance now to those who exaggerate, because I've noticed that there's souls in the past where I'm like, wow, they really exaggerate. And I didn't see it before. I kind of dismissed it. I'd be like, oh, well, they're just excited or whatever. But now I'm like, no, that's not they're creating an illusion. So, and I can see that much clearer now.
And so now what you're talking about, which is really, and it's funny that we're on this parallel course with the same thing, because, and it's more than just the talking and realizing. It's connecting with the truth. And what is the truth? And for me, I allowed people very close. I'm going to have to throw out, including my own mother, very close, that sometimes they're mean to me, and then they're really nice to me, and then they're mean, and then they're nice. It's this Dr. Jekyll. It's that ride that I allowed to happen, and no thank you. I mean, my weapon now, Kelliena, is distance.
Well, that's perfect, because when you put distance between yourself, either another person or a situation that's not fair to you, the guardians celebrate that. The guardians say, no, this is about you creating the reality that you deserve.
Yes.
And it's okay to say to others that, you know what, your vibration is not on mine. It's not that person's a bad person or the situation's bad. It's just it's not your vibration.
Yes, and you said it. It's just not. I usually say it's just not compatible energy.
Mm-hmm.
And
exactly.
but it's really about valuing who I am finally, and it doesn't matter who you are. Valuing me to put myself in situations that are only going to be good and kind to me.
Exactly, and I'll share very quickly a story that happened. So right before the accident, I had sort of a falling out with someone who I thought was a really close friend, and I had a moment with him where I was really uncomfortable with it. He took one of my personal pictures on Facebook, and I know when you put a picture on Facebook, it technically is public, but he took one of my pictures from my profile. He wasn't in the picture, nothing like that, and he posted it to his personal wall, like tagging me and stuff like that, and just like kind of saying, oh, this is my BFF or whatever, but it made me really uncomfortable because he never asked me permission. He just did it, and it made no sense why he did it. So when I presented it to him, I just said, this makes me uncomfortable. He manipulated the conversation and put it on me like I was the one with the problem. And it was such a big, because this was just before the accident. And because I was going to kind of forgive him and say, okay, well, maybe I am overreacting, that's, my fault. But since the accident, I actually really put my foot down and just said, I'm telling you something that I'm uncomfortable with, and you're blaming me and not owning or not respecting my energy. So I actually ended up blocking him afterwards. And he's like, when I first spoke up to him just before the accident, he didn't speak to me for a few weeks. And then the accident never checked me, nothing. And I thought, I felt like I was being manipulated, but I think I would have missed it before. I would have totally missed it.
Oh, you know what? Hold on a second, sister, sweetie pie, honey bunch. Listen, this kind of relationship where people talk to you and then they don't talk to you and they talk and they don't, I'm not into any of that kind of. It is manipulation, and it is the controlling thing, and it is something very mean. And let me say this: I don't explain myself to anybody anymore, ever. It's actually because my words are limiting, and then because if I try to explain, then I'm going to get something back. Oh, like you said, you're going to get that back from them. Oh, it's all on you. So whatever you try to explain, for me, it just keeps going into more drama. So I'm done with explaining. You don't know how many people I've blocked and unfriended. It's crazy.
No, that's good though. That's good.
But let's get back. So that is really important, and it's finding strength and conviction in truth in what. And you know what? The universe and your guardians and your angels, whatever you want to call them, they have your best interest always. And so when these things happen, it's just a reminder to pay attention. Pay attention. And anybody that is treating you or me with any kind of, I'm not, the cold shoulder crap, I used to do that myself. That's why I know what it really is. I'm done.
Yeah, and it's a hard lesson. It's a hard one to get and to step away from.
Yeah. Well, so tell me something else that I love that, because it just sounds like you're more connected, you're more in tune, you're more you know what I'm saying, and clear. And so what else? What else have you gotten from that?
The other part that's been since the accident has been, like the guardians, since I was a little girl, they've always put me through what I call psychic training, give me different exercises or things to be aware of. So since the accident, that has definitely increased quite a bit. Like much before, if I was doing, say, yoga or qigong, I would go very much in the moment, and there would be moments where, I could do it, but I would choose watch TV instead of doing my yoga. So, but I found since the accident, I'm much more determined where I will be disciplined, where I will do it, complete what I need to do for my energy. And the other part, too, since then, the guardians have been a little bit more firmer with me, and the things are like getting me to question, like I was talking about the relationship, but even to start questioning, okay, am I trying to control other people? Which I have to admit, I can be guilty in the sense that not controlling like telling people what to do, but controlling in the way of my expectations of how I think the friendship should be. And that's a very hard lesson that I'm still processing right now. Like, for example, if I'm talking to my friend and I feel like, okay, he or she, like if I text them and they don't text me within the hour, I'll get upset. I'll be like, why aren't they texting me? Why am I back? And that's, like, and I realized the guardians were like, okay, but right there, you're getting impatient, but you're trying to control this person. And I was like, I never saw it as that. Because I would take it before the act, I took it as, well, are they being disrespectful to me? Am I not important enough to get that text or whatever? And I would get very upset.
You know what? This is such a huge issue. I was in the elevator with a woman a couple of weeks ago, and she was on the phone, and she says, didn't you get my text? I texted you an hour ago. Didn't you get it? And on and on and on. And let me tell you this. The only way I learned this lesson is because my son, my only son, if I call him, and sometimes he knows it's me. I mean, of course he knows it's me. He just doesn't answer. And sometimes I text him and he doesn't text back. But it's never personal. It's never personal. And having expectations towards anyone, including my own son, my mother, my coworkers, my one friend, having expectations and then getting upset or disappointed because somebody didn't text you. I'm not just talking about you. I mean, this is an epidemic.
It is, and I didn't realize that until the guardians were very firm.
Why didn't you call me and ask me? I would have told you that a year ago.
I should have stayed from the surfboard accident. Because it was just because I didn't realize the way that the guardians presented to me, I would never have thought it before as controlling. Because I made it all about me beforehand, and then when I say like I would get more frustrated like with the. Like if someone did text when they wanted to or whatever the communication was. And the guardians, like they presented it, I'm butchering the wording how they did. They presented it really better than this. But it was just sort of like, we need to start respecting other souls' flow, other souls' energy where they are, and not put our energy on them. And I thought that was really, really profound because it's just, we should celebrate each other. We should celebrate, like if we send, I'm going to use a texting as an example. So if I send a text to someone, just let it go without expectations.
Yeah.
And if they get back, beautiful. If they don't, it's okay because I honored the moment that I presented what I need to communicate and let it go. That's just an example of kind of one of the transformations I'm going through.
Yeah. But it's really big because this really taking it personally, and then, see, honestly, I feel if somebody says to me, you didn't text me back, then I'm not talking about you, I'm just talking about in general. You throw yourself in here, though. But to feel obligated to have to text somebody back, no, to feel obligated to have to answer the phone, to feel obligated to have to talk to somebody, that's not real love. It's obligation.
No, it's not, and that's since the accident, like it's that transformation because I also feel, not that I'm blaming society, but like we're bombarded with, where if we're talking about romantic relationships or friendships or partners, there's a certain thing that, we have an expectation on how this should flow. Like you meet, get married and all that. But it's since the accident, it's sort of more become clear to me the way that the guardians show this is that, just be in the moment and let the relationship or friendship be what it should be.
Yeah.
Like, just let it flow. And that's another part, too, that I really stepped into that. Because I know for, even 2 years ago, there's no way I would have done that. No way.
Right.
I would have been way too much into that energy. Like, if I met someone, I'd be thinking, no, I want a ring on my finger. Or I want to focus on whatever, because that was a really big part. But since even before the accident, but since the accident especially, it's much more freedom where it's just more about, let that person be who they are.
Well,
and then go from there.
Let me add this, and then we're going to go. There's a couple people in the queue. Would you like to take some calls?
Sure.
But let me add this. One of the things that, the reason why I'm going to speak for myself, I had expectations about people because I put the label on them, the label of friend, the label of boyfriend, the label of mother. There are things that I quote, unquote, expect because I've had that label. So when you really eliminate all the labels, there are no labels. It is just, like you said, it is just the moment, and you're experiencing the moment. Then all these other things just fall into place. You know, oh, you're my friend, so that means I have to talk to you every, once a week or once every 2 weeks. I have a woman, I'm actually going to have a birthday in a few weeks, and there's a few people that are getting together, and one woman that I really consider a good friend, I haven't talked to her in 2 years, but we have the understanding that whenever we do speak, or if she did need to talk to me, I'm right there and she's right there for me. But the expectation of what a friendship is supposed to look like, that's a bunch of crap.
It is. It totally is.
Yeah, okay, good. We agree.
It is. I 100% agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's go to our first caller who's been waiting very patiently. Area code 323. What's your first name? Hello? Area code 323, prefix 933.
Hi.
You're on live.
Hi.
Hi, what's
Hello?
your first name? Hi.
Yvette.
Hi, Yvette. Can you hear her, Kelliena?
Yes, I can hear her perfect.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay, go, Yvette. Can you hear now?
I hear everyone.
Oh, perfect. Hi, Yvette.
Hi. So I love the stories you ladies are talking about. I concur 1,000%, and I can add to it, but I don't think you want me to because friendship is so important. But people really, what you said earlier, which is so true. Friendship is a very it's an honor. It's not just deliberate.
Yvette, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. I'm in an interesting situation right now in regards to finances and work, and I wanted to know what you're getting from me.
So I missed the question, so it echoed there.
I said I'm in an interesting situation in regards to finance and work, and I just wanted to know what you were getting.
I think she's asking for her work.
Yeah, she's asking. She's wanting to know something about financial and work, and if she sees anything, if you see anything for her financially.
For her work, okay. Okay, so what they're presenting here for that is they want you to slow down. That's the big energy here because they're showing, okay, the Guardians are presenting a split coming up in your energy. So a split just means that there may be another path coming to you. And what they're presenting here is that with finance and work, it's sort of the Guardians using this energy to get you to look at other, she's saying past, and they're saying other abilities that you have. So she's saying just sort of use this, like, for example, if you're thinking of changing or, sorry, they're really splitting this energy. They're showing, like, for example, you may get a job that is not quite your cup of tea, but the energy with the other people or with the other energy there, you'll learn a lot about who you are, and then you go from there. So just want to give you a heads up that the opportunity coming your way, it does not make sense financially or for your career, but it's going to become a bridge to get you to the next energy to understand more of who you are.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Actually, one thing I do want to say very quickly for the audience is the Guardians will use, like where Yvette was saying, because finance can be a very big stress on our lives. It's part of the experience that we have as a human life. Like we have to, we're told we have to work 9 to 5, pay our bills, pay our taxes. That's a big part of our world. But the Guardians will actually use stresses, like whether it's frustration or if we're getting annoyed or jealousy or anything like that, not to cause us stress or to cause us frustration, but to get us to look at something. So, for example, like going back to the friendship thing, so if you catch yourself all of a sudden you're complaining about your friend and that friend did nothing logically to you to upset you, like it's just like they'll call and you feel annoyed that they're calling you have no reason, or you're talking to them and you just want to get off the phone. Well, that could actually be the Guardians putting in that energy just to say that, you know what, this isn't a bad thing, but you're starting to graduate from this friendship. You're starting to realize that, you know what, maybe this energy is not yours, and not that the person's a bad person, but they're just on a different path. So those are something that you want to pay attention to. And same thing too, like if you're getting stressed with financial or anything like that, it can be the Guardian saying that, okay, well, we want you to look at, well, maybe there's something to look into more of a simpler life, or do you need to move, do you need to change? And they will use this as a gentle push or guide to get you into another energy.
And let me add something too, because this is a really It's one of those big issues: money, health, relationships. And what I've discovered, and you're absolutely right, Kelliena, that whatever is happening to me that I quote unquote would not have wanted to happen, and I mean whatever it is, whether it's health, whether it's money, whether it's mom problems, whether it's job issues, whatever is going on is supposed to be happening. And it's only because I put a judgment on it, whether it's good or it's bad. But everything that's happening is for my betterment. Everything that happens to me, and let me share with you, Kelliena. You want to hear what the universe, you use a different term or angels or guardians, but same thing, the same voice is given me the assignment of. It's really unbelievable. It's horrible. I can't stand them. They're irritating to me. So all of the things that happen, it's really easy to get excited over. Okay, a publisher is interested in the book. Oh, you just have another $1,500 in your bank account, or you're traveling somewhere. All of that's easy to get excited over a trip or anything like that. But what the universe told me to do, which is really annoying, is to start getting excited over the things that I wouldn't really choose to experience. Start getting excited over that. Start keeping that vibration of excitement over this life, over every moment, as opposed to picking and choosing which moments I want to celebrate.
I think that's really wise. I think that's a really wise philosophy with that, because we're meant to, like, for me, when the guardians, since I was little, they've always said, like, we have, all of us, every single one of us, have a divine right to a happy life. Nothing less than that. Nothing less. We're supposed to be happy. We're supposed to, celebrate each other's success. We're not meant to feel sad that, someone else got that, that check or that trip or what have you. Like, we're meant to celebrate each other, because it's a very big part of, and I 100% agree with you, Rebecca, where it's like, we need to own our energy, we need to be accountable, and we need to recognize who we are. But one thing too that I think that we need to be aware of is also too how we have the pressures from society, because society teaches us that, for example, what we were saying about that trip or the check, we're taught to celebrate. In society, we're said, no, that is success. You just got money. That's the only way that you're successful. It's not happiness. It's not your family. It's not your joy. It's, no, that money or that materialistic or that trip, because that's how society is programming us almost to say that, no, that's the only success that could be.
Well, you're absolutely right, and this is the bottom line. How whatever society is teaching, whatever is taught by man or humans, I'm sorry, I'm going the other way. I'm not into what man deems as successful, because quite frankly, success to me is being at peace and being content with every single moment, and that is success.
I agree.
Okay, so we have another caller. Hold on a second. Area code 443, prefix 905. Hi, you're live on Reality Spirituality. What's your first name?
Kathy.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi, how are you today?
Good. How are you doing?
Good.
What's your question, Kathy?
I would like to know what's coming up on my spiritual journey.
In her what journey? I didn't miss it.
Spiritual.
Oh, spiritual journey? Okay. Okay, so one of the elements that the guardians are showing for you, Kathy, has a lot to do with past life. And they're saying the past life energy that will be presented to you will not be from this world. It will be other realities or other dimensions that you will be translating. And she's saying a lot of the energy or information coming to you has to do more with music and sound. So if you're doing chanting or drumming, anything like that is going to be very, very powerful for you right now, because it's going to trigger those memories for you.
Wow. So
that's where they're presenting that.
Okay.
With that, and she said just focus on the music. That's where they're and binaural beats I think would be really good.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. So
one thing I want to say, if it's okay, Rebecca,
please.
I want to say one thing to the audience. One thing that the guardians have said too is that because Kathy just brought up a good point about the spiritual journey, one thing that can really help those who are trying to develop their psychic abilities or spiritual energy, or just even being the moment with their energy, science is something that we tend to separate from spiritual energy, because we're told if it's for science, it has to be on paper, it has to be proven, it has to be fact. And intuition, we can't prove it. We can't, it's a feeling, it's an energy. We have no machine or anything that we could, validate, no, this is the energy. And it's just, the two worlds almost, on paper, don't match. They don't make sense. But the guardians have always said that, we should be combining spiritual energy and science, because both of them are about having the courage to pursue the truth. It's both of them are about understanding this world and understanding who we really are, and so they should work together. So one thing I really recommend for my students is find a science that you love. For me, I love astronomy. I have a telescope, I have binoculars, I go to astronomy clubs, I love it. It's amazing. And the more I talk to the different scientists or the researchers, it's more and more, it's the same language that those who are going into spiritual energy. It's just everyone's on the same quest. That's something that I think others should look into a bit more, because we need to question things. We need to have that courage to keep growing and to keep going forward.
Okay. Well, one of the things that I talk about, and I just brought this up last week in my Importance of Happiness class, is about using our intuition and using this gift, this power that we have, that we all have, and then just practicing it from... just the simple things. I can get in my car and decide and think I want to go to one restaurant, and then I get there and my intuition says no, don't, and I can drive away. Or I told this story I think last week. I was dropping my son off at the airport at LAX, Los Angeles International Airport. And when you leave Los Angeles Airport, you're always taking the freeway back. You never take the streets. But my intuition said, take the streets. And it's 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 a.m. in the morning. And so I started driving on the street as opposed to getting on the freeway. And it just... I remember that I needed some tool at Home Depot, and I went on my map quest. And is there a lot of echo now?
Yeah, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Okay, you know what? Let me call you back, okay? Let me call you right back. Okay. I don't know why Skype does that, but let me call her back right now. Anyway, let me finish the story when she gets back on. I don't know if I told this story already. Skype is always, well, not always, but usually there's a... Hi, can you hear me?
Perfect. Perfect. It's a little there, but not as bad.
I don't know. I think it's Skype, because I usually don't have this. Anyway, it doesn't even matter. But what I was saying is just listening to the intuition, and I needed to go to Home Depot, and then when I went on my map quest, Home Depot was 2 miles away. So it's really about practicing using your intuition and using that power that we have. And also, what you said, Kelliena, is I've learned that my journey and my path is totally different than anybody else's journey or anybody else's path. And I've learned to, the saying is, mind my own business. I'm gonna be the example of what I'm learning, and I'm going to share with people what I'm learning. But how people get to how people flow on their journey and get to from moment to moment is really their own business. And I know that they're being protected, and I know that they are on a right path. So that's another thing to let go of other people.
And I think that's important.
Oh, good. Good.
I do. Well, no, it is, because when, minding your own business is also to respecting that other person's path and choice. Mm-hmm. If they're not hurting anyone, then let them be. Let them have their experience. Because we're all here to have experiences.
Yes.
And it's just, but if we're all on the same path, we're not going to learn.
Exactly. What else? Now we're coming to the end of the hour, but I just want to. I can't believe how fast the time has gone by. But I also want you to share. Wrapping up, you talked about what you learned, but really, let's just pinpoint it and just give the audience a bit of your wisdom from what this.
The accident.
The accident. Yeah.
I feel very blessed to experience. Like, I had so much love from people. I had so much support from, like, my Facebook friends and from, like, others coming to help me, giving me, like, Reiki treatments or massages, and just constantly support. Like, I felt the love. And it reminded me, which I knew before the accident, but it just validated so strongly that, humanity is good. Humanity is a beautiful, beautiful soul, beautiful community all around, regardless of where you're from, regardless where, if I have friends I have friends in Mauritius, I have friends in the UK, like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's this beautiful energy where we're all together, we're all one. And it made me more passionate about our world, just to help others, to remind them of their power, to remember who they really are. And I feel like the lessons, I'm still going through them to take away. The Guardians call it, sometimes they call, when I have, like, for example, expectations of friends, they will tell me, oh, you're being human. Like, that's their answer. It's like, oh, you're being very human right now. And I'm like, oh, okay. So that's one thing that I feel very determined to really try to get this lesson and understand it. And just like what you said is beautiful too, like, to mind your own business, let that person have their experience, I feel so free after having that lesson, because I'm no longer upset. I'm no longer, if someone doesn't text me or anything, I don't take it personal. I recognize that, it's okay. I celebrate the fact that, okay, I had the courage to present my message, even if it's just like, hey, do you want to go for coffee, like, to a friend, whatever it is. Celebrate that courage to send that text, but then to also celebrate, okay, that person's having the experience with me, and then let it go. And that's huge. And, like, that's all areas of my life. Like, for example, if I'm working on, getting on, say, another interview for a radio or interview on a TV show or something like that, just let it go, no expectations. And I feel so free. I think that's the biggest thing that's come since the accident.
Which is really huge, because one of the things I like to talk about is carrying around all this baggage. Like, when you go on a trip, and I don't know about you, but I have this thing about overpacking. I mean, I can go on a trip just for overnight, and I have 3 suitcases. And
I've done that.
And it's really about overpacking in life and not having any attachments to an outcome or to a person's response or any expectations. And it's really about going into each moment fresh with nothing attached other than being open to the experience without any kind of judgments, without any labels, without any attachments. So it's a very freeing way to live, just like you said. And freedom, freedom is a state of mind.
Exactly. Exactly. I agree with that.
Yes. Now, let me just, only because you know how I am, very into me. So you can read my aura. How am I feeling today, Kelliena?
I feel like you're breaking aura today. So what that means is that you'll be breaking out or breaking an energy that would have slowed you down before, that won't have hold on you. So, for example, if there was like a past worry that you had about, so let's say having, a candy or something. You're like, no, I'm going to have that candy and enjoy it. Like, there's just something that you're going to break an energy that you're not going to second guess something.
Oh. Anything else?
I feel I was going to say there's something romantic energy. Just a heads up, Rebecca. There's something growing because I keep getting the energy for romance.
Oh, well, usually I'm very romantic with myself. Does that count?
That totally counts. And that's important. That's a really good thing. It's important to love yourself. It's important to romance yourself. Take yourself out for dinner. Like, that's so important. So celebrate. That's huge.
Yeah, I was just loving my room yesterday. I moved into this beautiful place. I think it's gorgeous. I call it my palace. This is a place of serenity. And I had candles on last night, and it's a real high ceiling and had the lights dim. It was just gorgeous, and I was remembering it like I remembered it when I first moved in. So it was a very romantic night by myself. Well, I love talking to you, and I love that you shared, especially something so personal. And I love how you shared the story with the energy of everything was okay, and you trusted, and you made decisions, and you made choices, and all you got from this, because people, you could look at this story with a lot of different perspectives, but you looked at it, you're experiencing it with what am I going to learn from it, how am I going to grow, how am I going to be, more of who I am. So that's huge.
Exactly. It was neat, and it's interesting because one of the experiences I had was watching others' reaction to it. Like my family and my good friend, they were very upset with the accident and very worried. Like my friend James, he was like, "No, you're not leaving the house without a helmet from now on," just joking. But it was just interesting how everyone kind of went different ways with it. With it, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's another topic, worrying, because that is such a useless energy, and also it doesn't do anything not for the person that's worrying and the person that you are worried, quote, about. See, I have a big thing about, I'm worried about you, and then you tell that person. What is that?
That's a very good point. That really is a good point, because that can make that person upset, and then you have two energies there that you're creating.
And when you tell a person that you're worried about them, I'll put your seatbelts on for this one, everybody listening, but it's really another form of manipulation and control.
Exactly.
So tell my audience where they can find you and where they can locate you, your contact information.
Sure. I'm on Facebook. Facebook's the best way to get a hold of me. It's just Kelliena, Kelliena, psychic readings, and every day I do a free, it's a video where you'll see me looking at the wall, or the camera facing the wall, and I do a free daily reading, and it's just according to your zodiac, so it will be like, okay, for Aries, the guardians are saying this, and that's how we do the readings for today. So that's something new that we started. I'm not on Twitter right now. I'm probably going to go back on in in December, I keep saying December, January 2016. That's when I'm going to go back on to Twitter, and that will just be at Kelliena.
Love it. Thank you so much, Kelliena, for being on live, and I really appreciate you sharing and just sharing something very intimate and very personal with the audience. Thank you.
Anytime. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I'll give you a call as soon as I get off this line here. But
sounds good.
Yeah. But Reality Spirituality, everybody, is heard every Sunday at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can go to my website at RebeccaNorrington.com, RebeccaNorrington.com. Email me at info@RebeccaNorrington.com. If you like the show, and I know that you did, go to Facebook, Reality Spirituality, and like that Facebook page. I appreciate it. Also, follow me on Twitter at RL Norrington. And as usual, I want to remind you of who you are. You are a physical extension of the universe. You're always evolving, you're always changing, and you're always growing. Love is patient, and love is kind. Be patient, and be kind to yourself. Be your own best friend. Remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. Thank you for listening. Talk to you next week on Reality Spirituality.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's the new experience. Reality Spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one, man.